All right, we're getting there. I recognize some of you folks.
The vaccine volunteers.
Yep. The ones who decided to go for it.
Well, I was a local health officer for years, and immunizing people was one of our big jobs, and it's not easy, and it's great to have the help on board. The more people you have reaching out to the community, the more likely you are to get people immunized.
All right, let's see. Admit. Yeah, and especially now that it almost feels like fall is like tomorrow. Like there's just time is going a little too fast. Hey, Amy.
Hi there. Couple more people coming in. Hello, hello. Yay. Another. Oh, this is so very exciting. I'm so happy you guys did this. Took the leap of faith. Okay, because everyone's time I know is probably pretty busy. Let's get started. I'm also monitoring the letting people in the room for Barbara. So if I look away, it's not that I'm not listening. Welcome. You guys are, and a few more who haven't joined us yet, are to be congratulated as the awardees from the vaccination RFP that we put out. So thank you again so much for throwing your hat in the ring. My name is Kim Greer. I used to be the president of VTVN. Now it's Bill. I stepped down to be able to manage this grant for VTVN. So that's how I am still connected. And this is great. There's people everywhere. So to get started with, this is not your mandatory data collection meeting. So I really felt that I just should get you guys together just as a sort of kickoff and say, here's where we are, here's some of I'll show you the data you're going to be collecting, but this isn't the official one yet because I'm still sort of working on a system, and I'd like to hear from you as well on how to collect the data. But why don't we go around, and if you could introduce yourself and your village, and also say just a little bit about what you're planning on doing with the grant money. So I'm going to start with, well, Bill, I'm going to start with Bill.
I'm Bill Kincaid. I'm on the Village to Village board, and as Kim mentioned, I am now the president. It's kind of like the Alice in Wonderland Tea Party, where everybody moved a seat to the right, but it's the same lineup, so it's the same deal. But I've been on the board now about a year and a half. Enjoy it and love working with you folks.
All right, Joyce, you are next.
I'm Joyce Wenger, the president of Rapid Home, a senior village in Rappahannock County. This will be our second year here in Rappahannock of doing a senior expo that includes a lot of stuff, but also vaccinations. We're doing that in conjunction with a couple of other organizations, including Aging Together, and Anna Rogers is on the line representing that organization. We did vaccinations last year, but this year, because of this grant, we're going to be able to advertise this much more widely throughout the whole community, not just the members of Rap at Home. And in addition to that, we are also going to be hopefully sharing the information that V2V Network had a consultant developed about why vaccinations are important. We didn't do that before. Last year, we just had walk in and we just said, if you're here, get your blood pressure checked here, learn about veterans things here, get vaccinations here. And I think we had about 40-ish maybe. This year, we're hoping to increase that number because of the advertising. So thank you.
Great. And you'll see somebody named Amy on here, and she is with the Hannon Group, who is in the midst of furiously developing the communication information. So I'll let her talk a little bit about what they've done so far, which is pretty cool. Emily, you are next. You're still muted? Let me see if I can unmute you. There
I'm
you go.
Emily Slunt from the Low Link Village in Locust Grove, Virginia. And we're really looking forward to participating in this grant. And we have had 2 flu clinics in the past and have had very good success doing a drive-through clinic. We're looking forward to moving outside of our community, our Lake of the Woods community this coming year because of having the opportunity to have the grant money, and going to a local shopping center and using their parking lot and some of the businesses in that area to try and reach a more diverse population, and also reaching out our village network and to be able to serve the greater community. And looking, we've had a prevention manager come in and talk with us last week from the same office as Aging Together, and not aging, the Office on Aging. It's very helpful to have him on board and being able to talk about the prevention aspect of vaccines. So we're ready to go.
Wonderful. It's all about partnerships sometimes, isn't it? Great. Jacqueline, you're next.
Good morning, and thank you. This is wonderful. It's an interesting time for us because this will be our 4th flu clinic, but this year we added COVID boosters to the mix. And now with the new vaccine coming out, probably mid-October, it's causing some confusion because people don't know should they get the booster. So we've been busy just trying to find the formula for how long you should wait between a booster and the vaccine. So we spoke with the pharmacist yesterday, and I think what we're going to do is we'll just do a flu clinic. He'll bring some boosters, and then when the vaccine comes in, they'll come to our office and do a COVID vaccine clinic for us.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So, pardon me?
I was just going to say, I think timing for some of this is going to be interesting given when we're supposed to get the flu and the new booster coming out. So glad you mentioned
Right. Yeah. So we have ours has been on the books for a long time for September 1st. So we're just going to go ahead with it on that day. But then we'll be able to incentivize some people to come because we can offer them rides in a lift.
Yeah.
And as we said, we noticed last year that people just lingered and visited, and we were just scrambling, making coffee and serving drinks and buying pastries, and because we loved it that they were sitting there. So this year we've turned it into more of a fun event, and we'll have little cafe tables out front and just try to make it more of a welcoming vibe for people.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you. Amy is next in my lineup here.
Hi there, I'm Amy. I'm with the Hannon Group, and we've been working pretty busily on getting together materials for the communications chapter for the implementation guide, and also a large communications toolkit that'll be coming out to you in early September. And we're currently doing testing on the toolkit itself with some of our messaging, just to be sure that we're using materials that are appropriate. And we've been getting some great feedback on that. So we're excited about the project, and I specialize in media relations and writing. We're excited to be supporting you all in this effort.
Thanks. Bobby, you are next.
I'm Bobby Martinez with Union County Neighbor to Neighbor. We're located in central Ohio outside of Columbus. We are a rural village that spans our entire county of about 60,000 people. I am working with our county health department to line up vaccine clinics at some of our senior centers and senior villages within the county. And we're also planning on providing transportation to a senior health fair that will be at the health department in November.
Wonderful. Thank you. Karen.
Good morning, afternoon. I'm in California, Lake Isabella, California. We are a our organization is Senior Citizens, Inc. We are an incubator village trying to get out of the starting gate. And our approach this time, it is a very rural area for communities around a 38-mile shoreline lake. So we're an unincorporated rural community. And Amy, this is a thing that I'm going to try to get in touch with you because we've got a little anomaly kind of thing with, we only have a weekly newspaper but we have plans to have working in concert with our local Kern Valley Healthcare District. They have a mobile unit that when COVID vaccines were starting in 2020, they were very instrumental in being available around this 38-mile shoreline lake to have the mobile clinic show up so you didn't have to drive very far. So our plan with this grant is we would have 3 sites for the mobile clinic, all in areas that typically are one in Lake Isabella, but at a location other than the senior center, where we have about 2,000 meals a week served for the homeless and kids that are coming with their parents for lunch meals that are not able to get pre-K meals. And so they also are the people that show up in the emergency room at the hospital. So the hospital is really interested in having them participate and get all kinds of vaccines. And then we're also going to have another mobile clinic at a local fire station where a lot of underprivileged people can actually walk, and they do walk to the fire station. So we'll have it there. And then another location on the other side of the lake where, again, it's convenient. We're working in partnership with the local Elks Foundation to have the facility there. So we're hoping to use the money to be able to have really good advertising on both social media as well as in the newspaper, and to have ads, flyers, and that sort of thing. And then to have, someone else was saying, to have pastries and coffee and things, and especially at where they serve the meals for the homeless and pretty much low income families, that to have juice boxes and some things there that would also entice them to attend and get not only flu and COVID, but try to time this so that they have other, shingles, or if they're needing Tdap for the kids, that we're trying to do a whole bunch of things, and the mobile clinic can accommodate that.
That's great. That's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot.
Yeah, good for you. Lucas, you are next.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lucas Livingston. I'm the executive director of Chicago Hyde Park Village on the south side of Chicago in the Hyde Park area next to the University of Chicago. We are planning to do a lunch and learn type of event. We host a once a month luncheon for our members and the community. And this will probably be in October, but we're going to expand it to reach out to the broader South Side community of Chicago through a few partners and a network that we have. We're really fortunate and blessed to be right next to the University of Chicago, so and the hospital there. So we work with some great partners focusing on older adults and on the South Side. So tapping into that resource. And we don't know if it's going to be, we don't know if we're going to actually be giving out vaccinations at that event, but certainly awareness, and hopefully, and bring in a physician or some other qualified speaker to speak about vaccination awareness and infectious disease prevention and such. And then certainly develop some printed materials, which we'll hand out in person there and make available after the event. As we go to a lot of different resource fairs, and then also mailing or emailing as a follow-up to people who couldn't be there in person. So that's sort of our plan, but we'll see how it spirals out of control.
Scope creep. Wonderful. Thank you. Anna. There you are.
Yes, my name is Anna Rogers, and I'm with an organization called Aging Together in Central Virginia, Planning District 9. We represent, we work in 5 rural counties, one of them being Rappahannock, and we're very happy to partner with Rap at Home and Joyce in this effort. And I think Joyce outlined very well the plan and our part in that, so I won't take up more time, but thank you for allowing
And
me.
are you the AAA for the area?
No, we're not. We're an individual nonprofit that works in this area, but we do work very closely with the AAA as well.
Wonderful. Good partnership. Thank you. Sandy.
Hello, I'm with Sarah at Mount Vernon at Home, and I'm going to just let Sarah just tell you about our efforts.
Thank you. Sarah.
Thank you, Sandy. As Sandy mentioned, we're with Mount Vernon at Home, and we're located in the southeast corner of Fairfax County. We actually are going to be holding our vaccination clinic. It's going to be a mobile vaccination clinic, and we're partnering with Safeway, and it's going to be held on October 2nd and from 10 to 2. The library had also scheduled a vaccination clinic during one of their health fairs, which will be a couple of weeks after ours. So we're going to work together to publicize both events. In addition to Mount Vernon at Home's vaccination clinic, we're hoping to do a lunch and learn. We've made contact with a pharmacy association, and hopefully one of the pharmacists will come in and talk about the vaccinations and, you know, things like that, provide more information. So I think that'll be a big draw for a lot of people. Sandy has scheduled an hour lunch period in between from 10 to, we're vaccinating from 10 to 12 lunch, and then from 1 to 3, right? Is that Sandy? Right. Yeah. Okay. So that's what we're doing right now. And we will be marketing to a wide area within Fairfax County. We're going to be targeting some of the areas that, you know, maybe are underserved and lower income. That includes some of the community centers in those areas. We're also going to be working with some of the churches that serve that community as well. And we're going to be doing that through flyers that we'll be distributing and emails to churches and the community centers and that sort of thing. So we'll also market it to our members as well. So anything else, Sandy?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Hey. Barbara, what did you just type there?
Sarah, Ventures in Community is a great resource. So hopefully,
yeah.
It's all the faith-based nonprofits in Southeast Fairfax County. So
yeah, we'll definitely connect with them.
Excellent. Well, that's a word from everybody here. So basically, I want to let you know that whatever you're going through, whatever you're dealing with, whenever you have a question, I'm available at any time at all. And you probably already have seen my email, which is kimgreer@att.net. I will also give you my phone number, which is 404-432-1773. So if you have any questions anytime, oh, thank you, about anything, just call and let me know. I'm going to show you briefly, well, here's the things that we can cover in the next little bit. Is I can get Amy to talk a little bit more about specifically what they're starting to notice for the, no, just nothing in depth, don't panic. Just a little bit about what you're starting to notice with some of the interviews that you're doing with folks. I would like to just show you briefly what I'm starting to put together for data collection for y'all. And it is, honestly, don't panic when you see it. It's a page that has all sorts of stuff on it, but it's the basic stuff of, are you holding a vaccine clinic? How many people? And so I'll just sort of briefly show you that and then get some ideas from you on, here's how we think we might be able to collect data easier or better or whatever. So I'll definitely take comments on that. And does anybody have any questions about the implementation guide that was sent out? Did you get a chance to read through that or find it helpful? If you haven't looked through it yet, take a peek. And if there's anything that you think needs to be added, but I think we went through and tried to get, a little bit of everything covered in the manual without making it way too long. So,
Uh-oh,
yes.
I'm sorry. I'm covering for somebody who's away. I'm kind of doing double time here. I'd have to admit, I don't think I saw that. I am very sorry. Did it come from you or?
It was in the Village Buzz, but I can also.
Oh, in the Village Buzz.
Yeah, there's a link to, in the Village Buzz, there's a link to the implementation guide, but what I can also do is I'm going to make an email group of y'all, and so that way I'll be able to send stuff out. So everybody who's on here right now, affiliated with the grant stuff, will be in that group. If you don't want to be, just email me back and let me know. But I will send out the implementation guide. I mean, a lot of you have already done this before, so it's not like you're trying to figure out, excuse me, how to do it in the first place. But you might get some good ideas from it, and I'd love to hear again from you if there's anything that I've missed in it. Implementation guide to all. Okay. Does anybody have any general questions, period, before we... Karen. Joyce.
Because things are in flux with the mobile clinic, we may have opportunities to do something slightly different than work with the mobile clinics. And how much flexibility do we have if we need to sort of shift the playbook a little bit with generally the same thing, but same end goal, but how you got there was a little different? Is that
you have
to get pre-clearance?
Absolute utter flexibility with this. There are no parameters around, you said you were going to do this and you must stick to it. This is all in flux and things change, and who knows when the vaccines are going to come out and that sort of thing. So absolutely, if the mobile one doesn't work out, then just shoot me a quick email that says, didn't work out, we're going to do this. Great. Yes. Oh.
I know the hospital may decide that they want to do a health fair. And if we have a health fair, we may participate with that, which they, again, because of the timing of the vaccines, there may be other better opportunities that if we can reach more people, we want to punt and go be able to do that. So
absolute flexibility. And even though it said in the RFP to please try to have your events done by December 31st, this grant period actually goes until the end of March. So if it doesn't work and you need to just regroup, just let me know. Because again, we just want this to be as easy and non-stressful and meet the needs of the community that's around you. So Joyce.
I have some specific questions about the marketing materials that Amy's working on. We want to do sort of a postcard mailing to all the addresses in our county. I don't know how many that is, but it's a small county. We also want to have detailed information in a flyer that we can send to all of our members, that we can put at the food pantry, at the free clinic, those kinds of things. And then third, we also want to have an article in the newspaper. So my question is to Amy, will you be providing us with things that we can easily turn into those kinds of materials in time? Our event has already been scheduled for September 20th. So we would like to get those out very early in September. And I know you were working for an early September deadline. We're willing to work from even your draft materials if we have to.
Sure. Our timeline is to get information out to all of you by September 11th, but I mean, we could certainly talk about trying to get some drafts to you even earlier based on your timelines. Labor Day is coming up too, and that's going to interfere some as well with everybody getting materials done, as those holidays always do. We do have a draft flyer in the process. We also have some draft articles that could be easily, I think, repurposed. I also have a background working with rural communities and also with community colleges and programs for plus 50 adults. So we tried really hard to try to set things up so that there would be very good materials available for you that you could plug and play, adapt as you need, insert information specific to your own events. And it is important that we do complete our testing though, because in particular on some of the graphics, we're getting some pretty divergent opinions. And so it's pretty important that we make sure that the graphics in particular, some of which rely on very limited text, are not something, that we put out something that won't work. So we want to be sure that we get through testing for those, but we are, working pretty hard to reach those deadlines. So, but we can certainly work with you if you need, newspaper copy ahead of September 11th.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
wonder, I wonder if maybe like, what would be, if you could pick one thing that was the absolute bare minimum for outreach that would be helpful to you a bit earlier than the rest? And I'm not saying that Amy and her gang can do this, but if there was one thing, would it be a newspaper article? Would it be a flyer? What would be helpful?
The most important thing, in my opinion, is that none of us really have enough background to really describe why people should be getting vaccines and the importance of them and the benefits and all that sort of thing. And we can advertise generally that we're providing vaccines, and we're going to be providing a variety of them. And we can put down details of what kinds of vaccination or health cards they need to bring, or Medicare cards or whatever. But we don't really have the wherewithal within our group to talk about why these things are important. So that message is what's really important, whether it's in an article or whether it's in a flyer, but that message is what's key to us. The graphic is not so important.
Yeah, there's an article actually that does talk about that we've gotten some really great positive feedback on the importance of getting vaccinated, and in particular, a message around, how important it is to protect the people around you that you care about, and that's a message that seems to be resonating really well. And so, we have gotten some pretty good feedback already on that draft. So I think we can certainly work things out. Our graphic designer is, a different situation because we pretty much give them everything. They get their edits at one time and they send us back another round. So, but we can definitely take a look at things and work with Kim to see what can be done.
Thank you. That's really important for us. We're in a rural county, and there are plenty in this rural county who are vaccine deniers, and that's something we need to carefully work around and make sure. So your comment about why this is helpful for your family or your friends. So thank you. Anything you can do to get us anything as early as possible. We don't necessarily need to have these out way early, but they at least need to be out in time so that people can use that to make their decision to come to our event.
Yeah, and it's I will say, on another project I was involved with, we did have some challenges with social media for that project. And it was basically a book written by someone who helped lead the fight against COVID, and for a particular organization. And their social advertising attracted a lot of very negative vaccine denier comments. On the bright side, it gave it a lot of visibility because it built the algorithm for it. But at the same time, it was kind of a hassle to manage for them. And, it was a little discouraging, I think, for them too. So, to have your ads out and then to have, all of this surface. So, I think it's something where maybe I would recommend maybe you try something and see how response goes, and then see where you want to go from there. Like there's some testing of the waters, I think, has to happen in some communities based on just how the populations respond.
Kim, Lucas has his hand up.
I'm sorry, I did not see that. Lucas.
Thank you. Yeah, real quick question. I know you got other info to get to about the data collection. I'm not sure. Long and short, what if we don't spend all the money? But because like we've budgeted about 50% of our grant to help with transportation, to supplement group transportation to the event. And of course, hopefully that'll be gone in a flash, but what if nobody asks for that? And so then we have this money left over.
So my first thought is, don't tell me you have money left over. Think of something to do with it. So if nobody asks for transportation, then after your event, maybe you've got $400 left that you can take out one newspaper ad or do something. But again, as I was saying, in terms of flexibility with what you do with it, as long as it relates somehow, some way to a vaccination effort, whether it's education, outreach, holding a clinic, any of that stuff, you can repurpose the money for that.
Great.
Even gift cards for gas, gift cards for, food. I mean, like I heard, I guess Sarah mentioned Safeway. A lot of people are doing giant, can't pay for the vaccine, but you can actually give incentive if you participate, gift cards, as a thank you to come, and participate. Food, as Jacqueline said, food for the event, everybody comes when there's food. Let's face it, you provide food, they're gonna come. So it's a way to incentivize.
So I have faith that you will all use all your money. Any other thoughts, comments, questions? How often would you all like to meet? Would you find it helpful to meet every week, every other week? Do you want to meet at all? Do you just want to do this? How do you want to keep the communication going?
I think it would be helpful to meet every week. That's with me though, just until we, our vaccination clinic's on the 2nd, and then actually doing a debrief after that. But I think just to make sure we are you always learn something from other people's experiences. Okay. So that's just what I would think.
Any other thoughts?
Are these, will the meetings be available if we're not able to attend, that we might be able to view it? Good. Okay, great.
Yeah, they're being recorded, and we could probably do something like we'll pick a day at a time. That will always be the meeting time. We'll try to keep it to half an hour. If you're there, you're there. If you're not, you're not. But then after, we'll send out the recording link so you can access it. The only one that's going to be mandatory, which I obviously need to do between now and September 1st or 2nd, is the mandatory data collection. But again, it's not quite, I'd like to hear from you guys first. So actually, any other thoughts before I move on to that? Okay, so this is going to be the main stuff that you're collecting, and honest to goodness, if you have a piece of paper printed out and you do tick marks, that's fine by me, because I'm the one who's going to be doing all of the data entering into the system that we need to enter it into. So you don't need to worry about the little minutia of, do I count it as this? Do I count it as that? What should I do? So don't worry about that piece of it. Okay, can you see the Word document? Okay, so basically, and again, don't freak out, it looks like a whole lot. First of all, the data collection points are basically a lot of the information that you already know about from the RFP. So are you targeting under event targets? Are you vaccinations promoted? Of course, you had to let people know that you promoted it. So that's a yes, no. Populations targeted, that's going to be, for the folks in the rural areas. Yes, we targeted a rural area. Yes, we targeted a community of color. Yes, we targeted LGBT. So it'll be, this is the group we targeted. So whether you just write it in there or we end up with a form that you can check off. Age range, self-explanatory. We targeted folks over 60. We targeted folks over 80. Did you go after a particular gender identity target, and did you target any race or ethnicity? And again, a lot of these are just a yes, no, so not a big deal. The first two, does the event include a vaccine clinic? If it's no, then you don't have to worry about total vaccinations administered, obviously. Total vaccinations administered is every single shot that was given. It doesn't matter what the vaccination was. They would like to count everything. We'd just like to know that you gave, 50 COVID, 50 flu, 10 shingles, and 7 pneumonia. That's what it comes down to, is total number and what types were given. And again, if kids show up and your mobile clinic happens to have, like for Karen, if the mobile clinic has the a tetanus booster for a kid, or tetanus for a person who's unhoused, then that can count as towards this effort. So counting every single vaccine period, regardless what it is, write it down, and then I'll figure out how to get it into the system. So that's not a problem. If you're doing outreach and education, so that would be what are the types of things that you're doing? And is it something like, hang on, let me just scroll down for a second. So is it something like we're holding, like Lucas is holding the Lunch and Learn, the event? Is your outreach and education, is it an article in the newspaper? When it talks about total individuals reached, that's going to be a ballpark. So if you're in a community where there's 30,000 people and everybody gets the weekly newspaper, take a guess. Are all 30,000 people going to read the paper? Is it going to be 15,000? That is really sort of a ballpark, because you can't really know exactly how many people you're reaching with that. But if you're doing, let's say you've got a thing set up at the mall, you can count, here's the number of people that have come by. My activity was having a table in the mall with information. The supportive services, number of people you provided transportation to your clinic, number of people you took to somebody else's clinic. So as a village, if you're offering, we'll take you to your doctor's appointment. If the person happens to get any vaccination at that doctor's appointment, that can be counted toward this because you've provided transportation to a vaccine. If one of your members calls up and says, I can't make it to yours, can you help me find another place somewhere nearby that I can go to, and you help them schedule an appointment, that counts as one. And if somebody calls and says, I need a vaccination, but here's my issue and I don't have this, that, the other, and you can't help them, if you say give X, Y, Z a call, that counts as one as well. So basically, how many people you bring to your clinic, how many people you take to another place to get a shot, number of community members assisted with scheduling a vaccination, and number of people referred to other services. Those numbers might be very small because you might not get your members or folks calling up and saying, can I help? Can you help me? But if you happen to have, usual people who operate the phones for you, just, print this up and say, if anybody asks, just give it a quick tick, unless you think of something better. But those are basically the supportive services that they're looking to track. Bill, maybe you could step on this one, because they'd like to know if you provide technical assistance provided to a local health department on vaccine accessibility. What would the local health department be interested in technical assistance from a village? All right, Bill has stepped off. I think that's going to be if you, and I can check on this one because I'm not exactly sure myself, if you contact a local health department and you say, hey, can you advertise that we're doing a vaccination clinic for people over the age of 60 here, that's what I can guess that is, but don't worry about that one yet because I'm still trying to figure out with my technical assistant folks. If you do any other event provided to increase vaccine awareness, and again, this could be the, putting coupons onto balloons and letting them free, and hopefully the balloon will find its way somewhere. If you have flyers that you put out, if you have any other type of event, if you say tomorrow, if you're doing a village event and you happen to have 5 people in the room with you, and you say, hey, you know what, let's sit down and why don't you guys take a look at this flyer that we're handing out next week? What do you think of it? Anything that increases awareness about either getting a vaccine or just vaccines in general. Again, I don't think these numbers are going to be too huge because y'all are very focused on what your projects are going to be. They would also like to know, is there a new partner out there that you haven't worked with before that you're working with now? So I've heard, you know, the mobile vaccine clinic. I don't think you did that before. The aging, I've already, Anna and Aging Together, you know, is that a new partner to work with? So that is just something else that they would like to know. I think the main ones here to really focus on are the number of vaccines and the type. Did you target anyone? Did you provide education and outreach, and the supportive services part? Those are really the sort of main things that NCOA is interested in. So I just kind of put this down on a sheet like this. I don't know what the best way for you to collect the data is going to be. I can make this into anything you want. I can, if you have any ideas of how you think it might be easier, in my mind, I was thinking, you know, print it up. And even if you send me or scan like 10 different sheets that have 3 ticks on this one and 4 ticks on that one, it's perfectly fine. I'm the one who just takes it and deals with it. So all you need to worry about is, oh, I just helped somebody schedule a vaccination, tick. That's it. What do you think? Should I make the form? Is the form good? Should I go the form route and just add a bit more information on there so you can check stuff off? What do you think?
Looks good to me.
Okay.
Certainly, it might help if you specify what questions are binary. There was like the one yes or no.
Yeah.
Just put a long paragraph for that.
Yep, I can do that. And what I could also do as well, so when we get to the mandatory training, I can have the form a bit more formalized for the yes, nos and the different, and then I could have another sheet that says, here's the target populations they're looking at, and here's the others. So to keep the form as short as possible, and then to have something that says, here's the descriptions of what these things mean. Would that be helpful? Okay. So I'll do that I'll put that together for our mandatory data collection meeting, which I guess will be in a couple of weeks. We'll have to set that up. Yeah, I see you smiling there, Jacqueline. Yours is September 1st?
Yeah, but we got it. We got
Yeah.
this. We're
Yeah.
as long as we have this form and I just took some screenshots of it, that'll be helpful. And we can start.
Okay.
We can provide you
I
with
can
that
send you the
report.
form as is right now. Yeah, I can send you the
Okay,
form
that's
as
great.
is right now.
Yeah, lovely. This is wonderful because we're just a couple of weeks out from that. But thank you.
Yeah. Not sure I realized you were that close to it. I was like, how is it
I know.
almost September already? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will send out the implementation guide to each one of you. I will work on the form and make it a little easier to understand, to fill out of the yes, no, and the whatever. Put an information sheet with it that gives definitions of the different things, and then schedule you want to meet every week. So we'll schedule what day and time. And I know it's not going to work for everybody, but what day and time can we sort of hold as if you can make it, you can make it. If you can't, don't worry about it.
And we also have to keep in mind, it has to be after 12 noon for our West folks, guys. We don't want them to have to get up at the crack of dawn. So are Wednesdays good for everyone?
Wednesdays at 1 Eastern.
Does that work?
And again, we'll try to keep it to half an hour or less.
Could we do it more like 2 o'clock East Coast time?
How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah.
Is there another day besides Wednesdays that you might rotate between, like Monday or something like that, or
Hold on, let me look at something real fast. So next
Monday or Friday?
Next Wednesday is not good because we have our user group at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Helpful Village. So we can't run 2 webinars at the same time. And I would like to keep consistent, time. We can do it at 3 or 4.
Okay, how about
No.
I send out one of those poll things
Yeah, why don't we do that?
that where you can check off and say this day and here's the times I'm available, and then we'll go with the one that's most cool.
Okay.
Google.
We just try not to confuse everyone with double webinars on a different day. They get.
For ourselves. Okay, so that was basically everything I wanted to cover, just to sort of say hi to everyone and say way to go for getting in on this, and setting up a couple things, giving you oh, I forgot one thing, but it's not mandatory, which is great. One thing we'll also go over in the data collection thing is that the Administration for Community Living also put out a 3-page non-mandatory, I got a vaccine, so I'm going to fill out a survey now. So for anybody who receives a vaccine, filling out this survey is absolutely 100% completely voluntary. Of course, they'd like as many as they could get, but it's not necessarily involved. It just, asks a bunch of questions about how did you feel about getting the vaccine and non-identifying demographic stuff. And again, it's completely voluntary. It's something that if you have, the coffee and pastry set up, that maybe you could have a volunteer sitting with people, helping them fill it out. But so you'll need to have that available, and I will obviously send that to you, but it is not mandatory. So don't freak out about, oh my gosh, we completely forgot it, or nobody wanted to do it, or we only got 3. That's perfectly fine. So I will send you all a copy of that as well. And we'll go over it more in the mandatory meeting. Cool.
And Kim, I have a quick question. So just to confirm, if, right now we've got our plan, but if things change or something, we find out it's not going to work, then we should just notify you that we've changed our direction a little bit.
Yes, and as soon as you get dates for anything, just let me know, because I can create an event in our data tracking place that we have to do the data tracking, so I can get going. And for the September 1st one, I can already go ahead and go and put that in there and say we're having an event September 1st, and then it will create an event where once you're done, I will go back in and add all your data into it. So if you know your dates, let me know. And if they change, absolutely fine. Oh, you guys are so easy to work with. This is great.
One last thing I did put in the chat, I do need W-9s so I can process. So please send me that whenever you have a chance. Whoever's authorized to send that out, treasurers, whatever. So that'd be great.
Any final thoughts or questions, comments, good jokes? Great. Well, again, thank you for Amy and Anna, the extra folks joining us so you can see what's going on. And thank you for making the time to be on this. We will get this all set up and rolling. And seriously, anytime you need me, call me, email me, text me, whatever. All right. Thanks.